Hey folks, welcome to Bouncing Brains. I'm Sean Hatfield.
And I'm Freddy G. And today we have a very special guest in the building. Immigration officer, Mr. Mike. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good.
You doing good?
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Good to have you in, man.
I appreciate it.
How you been, man? Well, for real quick, for the people that don't know, I've known Mike for a long time. Fortunately and unfortunately, I don't know which one. You know,
Depends if you want to talk about Facebook or off Facebook.
Yeah, I've known Mike for a while. We used to work together. We don't work together anymore, thank God. We chose to go different ways. He chose to go the immigration way, and I chose to go the unemployment way. So
Dark side.
So no, but how you been, man?
I've been good, man. Just working, providing for my family,
The last time that I saw you physically, you weren't married.
Nope.
And you didn't have a kid.
Nope.
You had a girlfriend. You weren't married and you didn't have a kid. Now you're married and you have a family.
Yeah. Baby boy. He's about to turn 2.
It's amazing how the passage of time works.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much, man. Pretty much.
Yeah.
I got married and I have a little girl.
Nice.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. I'll get back to you on that.
On the little girl part.
Yeah, come help me babysit. Yeah, man. It's been a while, and I found out that, well, to be honest with you, when I first heard, because I think it was you that you told me that you were going to the police academy, right?
You assumed police academy, but
Okay, then I assumed. Then okay,
yeah,
correct.
it was a federal academy.
Oh,
It's a
okay.
difference.
So then, what did you tell me when we? Because I remember asking you, "Hey man, what are you doing?" I see you.
I told
going
you I
to
was going
school."
into law enforcement.
Ah, that's what it was.
And
then I assumed.
that's what you assumed at police academy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, but anyway, so yeah, you're now an immigration officer. How long have you been doing that?
About a year.
A year.
Yeah.
How do you like it? The actual we don't have to go about into the pay, none of that shit. The actual
Experience?
job, the experience.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I wouldn't trade it for the world. I mean, it's an exciting thing. Different story every day. You get to work. You get drugs off the street. Those are drugs I'm keeping away from my kids and from other families where kids can, get addicted to or whatnot. So I
Yeah.
feel like I did something for not only my family, but for other families as well.
Yeah, we should do that about aspirin and Tylenol too, man. They're
We
just
should.
as bad, you know what I mean? Yeah, but yet marijuana is still not legal, and
Well, I didn't specify marijuana. I said
no,
drugs.
I didn't. I'm not saying you did. You know what I mean? But
That's not all we catch out there. That's all you hear about, but that's not all you catch.
definitely. Yeah, man. But I remember we had that conversation, and I really did. I thought you were going to the police academy, and I really did think you were going to be a police officer. Because at the same time that you were going to school and stuff like that, my cousin's husband was going to the police academy, and he actually just became 2 years ago. He became a state trooper.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
That's what he. So now, as everybody knows, we no longer talk, and Thanksgiving dinner is okay.
I figured he probably blocked you on Facebook too. I'm real tempted to block your ass too, but I don't know. We have history, so I don't.
Yeah,
It's just because he wouldn't let you wear the hat, right?
pretty much. That's why I did it, and he wouldn't let me park in handicapped spaces without the plaque. So it's not like I can fake this, Well, I mean, to an extent, maybe, but.
I mean, you sometimes look like you walk normal too. Freddy. Like, I don't know. So,
Catch him in the right light. The shadows are good. Yeah, sure.
Pretty much.
when no one's looking, he looks like he's fine.
What none of y'all know is that this is just a front for the government to get that check. That's what y'all don't know.
Don't say that. My wife works for the state. She'll get your ass. My wife works for disabled people. She'll get your ass.
So, anyway, moving on.
Yeah. Crickets.
No, but yeah, man. So then I found out you were doing that. Found out that you got married, so on and so forth. And because before that, if I remember correctly, if we go further back, I remember you were dating somebody else, but we're not gonna go into that because it's gonna go public and won't fuck up anybody's marriage.
All right, you done talking about a bunch of stuff you should have talked about before the podcast? So, we good?
We good. Now that
you
we
want to pause it, y'all can hug it out for a bit. Is that cool?
Well, hold on. Before we continue,
Hmm?
I don't know where you got from me dating somebody else because I've been dating this girl since Converges. So
no,
yeah,
that no.
you met.
Can I say it?
Yeah, go ahead.
The other chick, the one that I remember I went with you. You went to go get a haircut. And when you picked up
Freddy, you met my girl. We went out to eat together after Converges. Remember we went out to eat at Buffalo's?
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, we went and then you started talking about your personal life to her and started asking her stuff about disability and whatnot. You met her.
Was I drunk?
Probably.
Well, I mean, I've been
She's
sober.
She's
I've
the
been
same
sober
girl.
for a long time.
She's the
right?
same girl.
Holy shit. Okay, never mind.
We went out to eat.
I don't remember. I honestly don't remember.
You're gonna get me in trouble on this radio. My wife, I'm gonna get home. What the fuck is she talking about?
Anyway, scratch that. Thank God that this is actually edited. This can be edited before it goes out. Anyway, hey man. So the real reason as to why we brought you in here is just because I wanted to have a very simple, complicated but simple conversation. What I mean by that is, I know it's a touchy subject and it's complicated, but I would like for you to keep it as simple as you possibly can.
Okay.
So everybody knows everything that's been going on in the news. We have a piece of shit president. We all know that. We don't really have to get into that. But the whole immigration situation at the border, what me and other people have seen is just separation of families, kids in cages. Now, granted, what I want to say, I understand that when we say kids in cages, they're really not in an animal cage.
Right.
It's a like chain link
Fenced,
fence or whatever. But
Well, let me jump in there real quick, man. Did you notice any, I don't know, was there an interpretation of that whole thing where they were using basically the fake pictures from the protest? And
there was a lot of people using pictures from the protest to make it seem like we were having kids just crying on the side in a little cage, making it seem like if we do that on an everyday basis or something. But yeah, there was just the media, like always putting what they wanted to put out there, brainwashing the community to hate us more and to have anger towards us for some reason.
So now the other thing that I do want to clear up, because I have a family member that is actually a Border Patrol agent. I'm not going to mention his name, but he's a Border Patrol agent. Something that I want to do, go on air and clear out as well, is that first of all, I understand that the first pictures that went out were not what was going on now. I know that. I know that some of those were copied from the 20, was it in 2014 or 2015 or some shit? I know that some of the posts that were flooded out and got millions of views or shares or whatever, they were from 2014 or
so when Obama was in office.
When Obama was in office.
Okay.
I get that. So when I shared it and I clearly made it in my post, and they can go back and look at my post, all I was saying and referencing was basically that I felt that the same shit was happening again.
Right.
That's all the fuck I was saying. I'm not saying this picture is going on now. Right. I never said that. So I can get that off my ass, because that's what a lot of people try to make me out to see. So anyway, the point that I'm trying to make is, now what part of the whole situation is, because I don't really want to go into a lot of unnecessary detail because we don't have that kind of time. I get it. But my question is, what part of the whole situation is real and is happening?
All right, so pretty much the way it works is a lot of people, they find out that they can come and seek asylum into the U.S. All right, so what they do is they get a bunch of families. They hire people from Mexico, coyotes. And we're not just talking about Mexicans. We're talking about people from El Salvador, Romania, other countries. And what they do is they're like, you know what? As long as you go to the U.S. and you claim asylum, then they'll let you in. So what a lot of people do is they get busloads and vans and whatnot, and they all rush to the border, and they come to us, and they tell us we're all seeking asylum. Why? Because we're all in danger and we're all going to get killed. So what we have to do is we have to get them, but you know how big our ports of entry are, and you know how big our offices are. So we can't just keep them all in there, because where are we going to be working? You know, there's a bunch of them. They come by the truckloads. So we have to put them in these camps. And in these camps where we put them, what would you do in a prison? Would you put men and females and kids in the same prison? No. Why? Because violence can happen.
Yeah.
Rape can happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, beatings can happen. Mm-hmm. And we don't know anything about these people because they're coming from other countries. So we have to decide, okay, we have to look at their background, see where they're from, what kind of warrants they have, where they're wanted. Are they fugitives that running from the law? Have they killed people? Because what if we put them all in the same place and we keep these families together? And then what happens to a kid? And then something happens to a kid, and then who's to blame?
Yeah.
Us.
Let me jump in there with a question. Has there been any talk? I haven't seen any, but I would assume at least there's got to be at least some concept of housing families as units.
Yeah, it's happened where we've got some people from other countries, and you know we help them out. They put them in small little apartments, depending on where they live. Let's say they come in and they say, "Oh well, we have relatives in Chicago." Okay, well, do you know when they're gonna come get you, or when you're gonna go move in with them? And well, they said about in a week or two. Well, in the meantime, we have to put them in these little housings, like in these little camps. It's nothing luxurious or anything like that. It's a bunch of asylees, but I mean, yeah, that's pretty much where they put them in. It's not permanent, you know. We can't.
Real quick on that, because those are the little points that I want to touch on. When you said, number one, it's not permanent. As far as it's not permanent, can you give a time frame?
Yeah, maybe like a week to a month.
Okay.
You know, they're coming to the U.S. and they're coming to the U.S. because they know people here, who they're going to move in with and who they're going to live with.
So I'm glad that you said a week to a month.
Now that would be tied in with the program where they're giving them ankle bracelets and that kind of. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So a week to a month, because I'm gonna make a point with that. Everybody that I've spoken to on social media has told me we cannot house them no longer than 24 to 48 hours.
That's at the port of entry.
Yes, that's what I said. I was like, dude, I'm not an officer or whatever, but I know that that's at the port of entry. But I know that after that they get escorted somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then they said, yes, they get escorted somewhere else, but where they get escorted, they get TVs, they get food, they get couches, they have games.
Yeah,
Is that true?
Yeah, we do that for them.
Oh, so that is true.
Yeah. Yeah, we do that for them, and even at the ports of entry, we don't just.
But they're not with their parents.
No.
So who's watching them?
Officials, you know, federal officers.
Okay.
You know,
that's gonna tie into my point right now. But go ahead.
And just like at the ports of entry, what they do is they have them in a room. They keep them together at the port of entry. They feed them every minute. I mean, anytime they're hungry, we have to feed them. If they say they're hungry or they're thirsty, we have to feed them.
And they don't choose what they want to eat, right?
We give them an option.
Now, you do? How does that work?
So what we do is we have a room full of food, and what they do is they're in a room. You know, they're not handcuffed, they're not tied down or nothing like that. They're just in a room. The doors are open. They're easy to go to they can go to the restroom if they ask us. We need to go to the restroom. We escort them to the restroom. They go back in. They say we're hungry. We tell them, okay, what do you want? Do you want these sandwiches? Do you want these TV dinners that you want? Like, what do you want us to make you? We feed them. Okay, what kind of drinks do you want? Do you want a Capri Sun? Do you want Welch's? Do you want water? Do you want apple juice? Do you want a soda?
No. I was gonna say no Coke.
I was like, what kind of drinks do you want? And we, you know, if we're swamped with a bunch of people coming in and we don't have time to give them options and we have to feed them immediately, then we just give them the food and the drinks and whatnot and the chips and cookies and we give it to them and we go back to work. Okay. You know, but I mean, it's not like we treat them, you know, every 15 minutes we have to keep an eye on them and we have to log every 15 minutes what they're doing. Oh, did they go to the restroom? Did we feed them? Did they say that they were feeling sick? Every 15 minutes we have to log.
And if they're feeling sick, they're given they're giving treatment or
Yeah.
whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
So
let me ask you, how does that differ from, say, the treatment of individuals who, I mean, they're not seeking asylum, they just plain cross the border illegally? How
how does that differ?
Well,
are they commit any offense at the port of entry?
Well, first of all, when they come, like, are you talking about the port of entry?
Yeah.
I would assume so. I mean, I know ICE is kind of a separate
Yeah, okay,
entity unto itself.
The port of entry, if they come in illegally, first of all, they wouldn't. But we've had that, but they use fraudulent documents,
Mhm.
or they have, they use an altered document, and if they're crossing and we catch them, then obviously they just broke the law. So right there,
Right.
we have to just put them in a cell because, they're not running from anything. They haven't. It's not like they're innocent. They just broke the law by trying to cross the U.S.
But this is not a child. This is an adult.
Well,
Yeah.
no. Let's make the distinction first of all. Just individuals. I mean, we can, again, like you said, we can break it down into the details. But my interest in that is more in terms of
Treatment?
well, not just that, but also that I'm not too clear on what that policy is. Where at one point in time, to apply for asylum, you had to go to a consulate or to an embassy and actually apply in the country of origin.
No, you just have to show up to the port of entry and claim you're seeking asylum.
Okay, there is a misunderstanding about that then, because the narrative that has come through either media or pundits or whatever has been that there was a change of policy at some point, I believe in the 80s, where it's like, okay, you can just walk up to the border and go, I'm seeking asylum.
That's how it is.
Okay. So
It depends on what country you're from, though. Also, it depends on
Okay.
the country.
now how does that? What's the distinction there?
Because some countries we don't get along with.
Right.
So if people come from, like, let's say Syria or somewhere like that, and they try to come in and I'm seeking asylum. Wait, hold up. We know people
Yeah.
that come from your country have tried to harm us. So
Yeah.
you can't
like
just,
Iraqi or
yeah,
shit,
you can't
know what I'm
just
saying?
you can't just seek asylum.
Yeah,
over here.
that's understandable.
Yeah, so it depends on if we're in good standing with the country.
What I was trying to tie it into was this, man. I'm a very realistic person. Very realistic. I like point A, point B, and point A and point B gives you C.
Right.
So this is the way I see this shit. I come personally from a fucked up background. That's but I'm okay for the most part. This is my point. They're separated from their parents. I get it. They came here. They get this treatment. You feed them. You take them to the restroom, so on and so forth. My biggest pet peeve, if you want to call it that, is that people don't understand the psychological effect that does to a child. Like, to a child that is seeing a man in uniform, that maybe they don't comprehend to the extent as into why they're there. Yeah, they see games, they're feeding me, but it's the fact that they're like in these detention centers, for lack of a better word, that are designed to keep adults, to keep grown people, that can make a choice between wrong and right, on their own. Like, there's a psychological effect that you start to plant as a seed to a kid, right?
Uh-huh.
So where I'm going with that is that alone affects you in a way that a lot of the times it's not reversible. That's one of my things. So I've been asked, so okay, fine. So then what the fuck is your answer? What would be a better alternative? I didn't know to the extent, the ins and outs of how this worked. That's why I was asking you. I wanted somebody to tell me that they knew what they were talking about. So my answer was, why is it not better to, if you're gonna keep these kids in cages, rooms, whatever you want to call them, for months at a time, however that may be, why couldn't it be worked out in some type of government program, or somehow some program that could have been come up with, to where, like, they're being put in, like, foster care, in more of a family setting, even if it's temporary, And I've gotten all kinds of answers. I've gotten all kinds of answers as far as like it takes time, there's paperwork, there's this. But you got to understand, like you said yourself, these are short-term situations in a way. They're not going to stay with a random family for years. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let's be clear, because we've had this conversation before, Mike. I know you said you'd listened to a few episodes. I don't know if you'd caught one, but some of the previous conversations we have had on this topic. But I mean, I don't think there's anybody that's in any delusional state and thinking that CPS or some of the more just the state in general is in any way capable of dealing with this in a let's say constructive manner.
Right.
I mean, from what you're saying, that the extents to which y'all are taking with the facilities are about as humane as you can probably get, okay, go ahead.
That's exactly what you're saying is exactly what I'm pointing out. Going back to the same thing, you just said we don't think that the state is in any way, shape, or form equipped to handle this type of thing or whatever. You said it yourself. The state, like we all know, the foster care for anybody is not really an ideal situation for anybody. We get it. I get it too. But going back to the same thing, because it's a short-term situation and it's still being created in a way or funded by the government, why can't they create a better... My only point is, why can't a better situation or scenario be created instead of keeping these kids in, again, a detention-like facility, put them somewhere else? Let me give you another plain and simple, straightforward example.
Let him answer the first question.
No, go ahead.
I would just because it's gonna go into that.
Okay.
Like a simple, and again, I don't know how easy it is. I'm just telling you, like a simple daycare per se, but not really a daycare, but just a house.
But at a daycare, don't you have to be inside where the faculty is also? I mean, don't you go outside when only they let you go outside also in a daycare?
Yeah, but it's different.
Don't they feed you only when they want to feed you?
But it's different.
How is it different?
Because let me ask you a question. That 4-year-old kid, that 3-year-old kid, when they see you, and it's going to be a very simple question. When they see you, do they see you in uniform?
Yes, of course.
That alone, psychologically, to a 4-year-old, to a 3-year-old, it fucks with you.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Would you rather see, as a 3-year-old, would you rather see a guy in uniform feeding you, escorting you to the restroom, or would you rather see somebody killing your parents from the country you're coming from?
I get it.
Exactly. So you're coming over here seeking asylum because their people want to kill you.
But they don't know that.
They don't know that. Exactly. But we know that. You're coming from another country where someone wants to kill you. Someone wants to kill your mom or your dad or somebody. You're coming to a country and you're seeking asylum. You see a person in uniform. As a kid, when I was younger and I saw a guy walking into school in a uniform showing career day, I thought that was awesome. I saw him with his utility belt thinking he was Batman and all this other stuff.
But we didn't live in the times that we didn't grow up in the times that we live now.
Well, he's back on that, Freddy, because I mean, I get what you're saying. Like most kids, they see a cop, whatever, a uniformed individual. They're like, "Ooh, that looks fucking cool." But I mean, it's usually either later on in life that you kind of develop.
It's once the media starts selling them.
Well, no. There are experiences that even a grown American can have in this country where you all of a sudden go, "Oh," and for lack of a better term, fuck the police.
Yeah, exactly. But that's once they're older and they start seeing other things on the media where it shows police being portrayed as the enemy. But as a 3-year-old, I'm just speaking from my experience. When I was young and I saw on career day police going in, I thought that was awesome. I saw him with his utility belt. I saw him with his handcuffs. I saw him with his baton, and he was showing us everything that he had on his belt. That really impressed me. So in my opinion, if you were to ask me, would I want my kid seeing a guy in uniform, feeding him, taking him to the restroom, or would I want my kid seeing his mom or dad getting slaughtered in front of him? I would rather...
No, I get it. I get it.
Let's take that to a little bit different direction. What is the sentiment right now, say, within the Border Patrol, immigration, customs, and all that, where it's like, okay, my understanding is that was never intended to be a detention an agency. It was not intended to be an agency that was going to be responsible for holding people, and it was literally frontline.
Yeah.
We
as
arrest them.
As soon as people found out you can come to the U.S. by seeking asylum, everybody started jumping on buses and.
Okay, where do you think that change? I know you said you've only been working for a year, so I'm assuming you've at least seen that transition from the non-separation to the separation, or back to the separation, I should say.
When I started seeing it coming, everyone coming in by the truckloads, I mean, it just I don't know how it got out to where people just okay, you know what, we can seek asylum, let's go, let's get on a bus, and you've seen it on the news and CNN, Channel 48, you've seen where. People and reporters are inside the bus where everyone's seeking asylum. I'm not against that or anything like that, but where can we put them? We gotta determine whether they're criminals, fugitives, or whatnot from other countries. Where are we gonna put them in the meantime? We can't put them out just mixed with random people from the U.S. and then they're gonna harm people from our country. Yeah. You know, we gotta understand. We have only so much that we can do, especially when hundreds, 200s, thousands come at the same time. You know, that's exactly why. It's just we're very limited to where we can put them, and you know, and especially since you're saying since it's just a week to a month and it's a short term thing, why would we put kids in a foster care with a family that they're not even going to see ever again? What if they establish a bond within that 1 week to 2 weeks to 3 weeks to the family in a foster care that you propose?
They just did it to the parents that they were with for years.
Exactly.
You're talking about like taking them away, right?
Right, but we're going to put them back with the parents that they were raised with. What if we put them in a house with the foster family? They grow bonds with their kids, or they grow bonds with that family. And I'll even ask you another question. What if those kids, where they're coming from, they've seen things that they think is normal, and then they do it in those foster care houses? What about that? You got to think about the safety of the U.S. citizens as well.
Well, that kind of goes back to what I was saying about, kids kind of learning that distrust for law enforcement or official positions. Even within this country, we have our own little segment of society that teaches their kids to distrust law enforcement, to stay away from it. And to be honest, in a lot of cases, it's not necessarily unjustified.
Right.
Well, let me ask you this: is there any sentiment that you've come across as far as, say, the private contractors that are trying, they're running some of these facilities that are housing the children, where there was something a while back where they were giving the kids, basically they were doping them up. There's been instances of the foster element of that being abused in the sense of like, oh, hey, we got a fresh new Honduran baby here. Who wants one? You know what I mean? Right. So is there any of that conversation kind of going on?
No, not at all. We haven't.
Y'all aren't even involved on that end of it. So.
No, not at all, because
No, but hold on. You just said you're not involved in that, but is it because you're not involved, or is it because it's not happening?
Because I haven't heard anything about that, and I haven't heard anything about that in those camps. But if it did happen, regardless, once they go from the port of entry to the camps, that's not our problem anymore. Our jurisdiction is the port of entry. And
all right, that's why I said sentiment more, because
that's where we're at. So
because a lot of that, I imagine, is kind of coming back again through either falsification or misrepresentation in the media, where it's going like, look at what's happening with these children. It's like, okay, but that's not happening under the I'm losing the word here, but basically under the jurisdiction of these agencies.
The Homeland Security, in other words, Department of Homeland Security. That's the agency that foresees all this. But no, I haven't heard anything about that. Not at all.
Okay, so that's not even a conversation that's going on. Okay, well, not that it necessarily should be. Like you said, your jurisdiction is this, and that's what you should be concentrating on.
So how do you know? How do you know what you're telling me as far as the camps? Once they get to the camps, how do you know the information that you're?
Because we drop them off.
So you know all of that just from dropping them off?
Yeah, we have to walk in there. We have to drop them off. We have to sign them over. You know, we go in there and we witness these things. We see these things.
And you see them you see them to what extent? Like literally to what extent? When you go and you drop somebody off and you sign them off, you just see where they go.
We see where they go, and once we sign the paper and we sign them over.
Is there any kind of conversation other than this is the kid?
Oh yeah, we have to do we have conversations with the faculty there and whatnot, but yeah.
Is it like an interview type of, not an interview, but is it like this kid is from here, we brought him from here?
Yeah, of course. We have to know exactly where they're coming from, and when we're passing over the kids to the other agency, I mean, we have to know exactly where they're coming from, who they are, who their parents are. We document everything. It's not like we just go, like, we're not going to like a animal shelter and just dropping the kids off and leaving. I mean, dropping the animals off and leaving. I'm not saying that the kids are animals or anything like that. I'm just saying it's not
we
like
got
that.
your analogy.
Yeah.
No, we got you.
It's not like that.
And our listeners are pretty smart for the most part.
I hope so, because I hope they don't think that that's the way it is. Like that's we go in there, we pass down their information, their papers, birth certificate, show them who their parents are, show them who the where they're coming from, where they wish to go. So like that. Once they're done and once they're out of there, we make sure they go to the correct parents. There's a lot of stuff that we have to do also. I mean, it's just, we're not just dropping them off and leaving, we're not leaving them in the front step.
I know this question might be a little bit, beyond the kin, but would you happen to know off the top of your head, say where in the U.S. code somebody could go to look and see what the actual policy is when it comes to this? I mean, as far as the
I wouldn't know on the top of my head. Not on the top of my head.
But it is public, right?
It's public.
Not even a section.
No, it is public, of course, but it's just that there are so many codes and so many rules and regulation, like you have no idea everything that we have to look for and make sure we're following everything in the book. So there's just so many chapters and codes and whatnot.
Gotcha.
Right.
Now, as far as we've been through the treatment. You gave us an overview and everything. I go back to the bigger picture. As far as the whole situation, the way it's been handled since it started, from your point of view, not mine, not the media's, not what the world is saying, not what Sean said.
Well, just to clarify, what started?
The whole kids in cages and this whole shit that we got into and the misperceptions and all this shit, and then the way it's actually being handled, the way the situation's actually being handled. From your point of view, do you feel or think that it's actually being handled correctly and to the best that it possibly can be handled? Or do you feel and think that it could be handled differently and maybe more effectively?
I mean, there's always room for improvement. But I mean, right now, to my knowledge, the best, I guess it's being handled the best we can because, like I said, there's hundreds of families coming over. If we were to keep all these families together and put them in a certain spot by families, there would be no more room for any of us to put anybody else in. And then what would happen from there is people would try to come over and we would deny them at the port. And then people are going to say, well, we're denying people crossing the port seeking asylum because we need to make room for more people coming in. And if we were to have, let's say, a family of 5 in their own little, housings, and then we have another person who's by himself, and then we got to have him in his own housing. Well, how come he's going to be in a small house just for himself when we can have another family in there?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just a lot of things where you got to take into consideration. You can't just put all the families in there. And then not only that, but we've had situations where we deny entry to some people because they're fugitives or they're criminals, and then they get their kids and they threaten to kill them unless we let them go.
Their kids?
Yeah, their own kids.
Okay.
Just to throw this in here, and this may seem cold-hearted as shit, but that seems like it just simplifies the situation real fucking quick. It's like, oh, you're a legitimate criminal. Fuck off, we're taking your kids.
Exactly. But then he has his kids as hostage. So he can harm his own kids. And it's been happening where families are together.
So it has been happening.
Oh, it's happened. Where the families are together, whatever. And as soon as we find out that he's wanted for murder in another country, he grabs his kids and he's like, you better let me go back to Mexico or I'm going to hurt this one. And stuff like that is what we're trying to avoid.
Have you seen it?
I haven't seen it.
Okay.
Thankfully. I haven't seen anything like that. But
I'm
But you
assuming this
heard-
is a rare enough situation that it is
it's rare,
something
but
that's going to
it's
be talked about
yeah,
because it's so
exactly. It's rare, but it happens, so we have to keep that from happening again. It's just there's a lot of things you got to take into consideration, Freddie, where you can't just they're keeping them cages, they're separating families and whatnot, they're bad people. There's a lot of things you got to take into consideration to where we're trying to protect not only them, not only their kids, but we're trying to protect the U.S. first of all.
And I get it, and that's exactly why I brought you in here, because I could have brought my cousin in here, but the conversation, there was no benefit that I was gonna get out of that conversation, and she asked me 3 times to come on the podcast because she wanted to clear shit up, but I knew that I wasn't gonna get anything out of the conversation. The problem wasn't gonna be solved. It was going to make the issue bigger, and the listeners were not going to get anything even feasibly good out of it either.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The reason I brought you on is because of the type of person that you are. Ever since I met you, you've given everything straight, and when you feel strongly and passionate about something, you don't let it go, kind of like my cousin, but you back it up with real, and you tell me this is why I feel this way. You know what I'm saying? And I just feel that she doesn't. I gotta be completely honest with you.
I get you.
So that's why I brought you on.
That kind of brings up a different side of the conversation as well. Do you see anything again about the media as far as misrepresentation? What are the specific sentiments or opinions you're seeing out there that are, one, not helping, but two, maybe exacerbating not only the misunderstanding
and making the situation worse?
Yeah. No, I've seen a lot of that. There's a lot of bad apples. There's going to be bad police. I've posted videos where I say there's bad police.
We've had this conversation.
Yeah,
bro.
I've posted. I've seen some where there's bad cops. Even when I was at the academy, don't think just because we're law enforcement we say every cop is good. When I was at the academy, we would ask our instructors, "Hey, Mr. So and so, did you see this video that's on on social media?" "Yeah." "Well, what's your input?" "Well, he's a bad cop." Even at the academy, all of the trainers and whatnot, they know there's bad cops out there, and they'll agree to it, and they'll admit to it, and so do I. But here's my example. The media twists a lot of footage around, just like you can edit anything. You can edit anything to where you want people to see a specific side. So there's a video that they surfaced at the academy. They show us where there's this guy, and the media shows 2 officers beat and shoot an African American. And for some reason, it's always an African American with 2 white cops. Always, always. It's always 2 white cops. Like I wish there was one African American cop in there to it's not just whites.
There has been.
Yeah, I know. But so in this video, the police are beating down. There's 2 cops on top of an African American, and he's getting beat down, and they can't get him up. So what they do is they shoot him on his back. They shoot him with this gun, and all this blood starts squirting out. And it just shows the guy getting dragged, and they put him in. 2 policemen beat and shoot a guy on the street. But what you didn't see, and we see the unfiltered and unedited version at the academy, he was choking his 2-year-old baby boy underneath him because he said God told him to do it. So he's choking a 2-year-old baby boy, gasping for air. He's killing him.
And nobody can put this out?
Exactly. It's out there. It's out there if you look for it, but the media won't put it out there. It's out there.
How come we've never seen it?
Exactly.
But that's my argument that I have with stories like this, because you're not the first one to have told me a story similar. If the internet is so big, dude, the internet is on your phone. The internet is everywhere. How is it that part of the footage manages to escape the billions of users on the internet?
Right.
How?
I'm
asking you, dude.
I don't know. It's just what the media wants to show you, dude. And here's another thing. I'll give you another example.
The media controls 100% of the internet.
Not 100% of the internet, but there's people that just go on Facebook, everyday life. They're not going to be searching for videos on the internet. They're just going to go on Facebook, everyday life, scroll. Media's going to post 2 officers shoot down an African American. People see it, they share it. Fuck the police. And that's all you get out of it. And so here's the thing: a lot of people share negative things and violent things a lot quicker than, oh, you know what? The cops didn't have fault. You know, the cops had a reason to. They're gonna show real quick, because I've seen your post too, Freddy. You post only videos where cops look guilty, but videos where cops look innocent, I have yet to see you post.
Negative. I've done it. Very few, and
Very
I can
few
count
compared.
3. Yes, and I
Exactly.
because
Why
it's
is
what
that,
because it's what I found, and I've made it my thing, and I do it exactly because of that. I made it my thing that I've said it before. When I find a video of a cop that does his job or does something good or goes out of his way to help or whatever, so on and so forth, I will share it as well. You know,
I'm gonna look in
Be-
your Facebook feed
yeah.
for like the past year, because I have yet to see you do anything like
And
that.
I can tell you to this day that I can remember, I've posted only 3. And it's sad.
Out of 100.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. And it's
Yeah.
sad that I've only been able to post 3.
Well,
it's very sad.
Freddie, let's be clear about this, man. When you're asking like why is that? Why don't people go and look for the unedited footage? I've seen videos within the last week between interactions between law enforcement and citizens, and it's a shit show on both sides. It's
Right.
like, officer shouldn't have done this. The guy shouldn't have done this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's a little more complicated to get across to people. They almost want the moral of the video to be present in the title.
Exactly.
Bad person
So-
did bad thing.
Yes.
So something, and I know it's impossible, man. I get it. I live in a realistic world. I'm a realistic person. I get it. But like this conversation that we've had off air and online, we've never had it in person. But going back to, there's some good cops, there's some bad cops. I get it. But Chris Rock couldn't have said it better. Some fucking jobs, you just have to be good. It's
Yeah.
like the example that he used. Southwest Airlines, you don't want to hear. Sometimes we like to land. I mean, it's just, it's not, and it's as funny and crazy as
Here's
it
the
may
thing,
sound.
though. Like, you can easily, I mean, there's bad cops out there, and for example, some people don't have the training, because you got to remember,
Yeah.
police academies, they're just like 6 weeks, month, 2. You know, they're not just.
It takes longer. It takes longer to hold a flattening iron than it does to hold a gun. You have to go to beauty school or whatever the fuck it's called for, I think it's 18 months.
So yeah, I mean, it's just the training is. I wish they would get more training, but they don't. But here's the thing: like, a cop can be in a good mood. He can walk up to your vehicle, ask you for your ID, for your insurance, driver license, and then you spit on him. You know, you insult his mom.
On purpose?
Yeah, you spit on him.
Okay.
You tell him, I ain't gonna give you shit, pig. Spit on him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you fucking insult his mom, insult his wife, insult his kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and everyone expects the cop to just be like, "Thank you, sir. Have a good day." You know, when the guy just spat at the cop. I've seen these videos where the guy spits at the cop and the cop says, "Appreciate it, sir. Have a good day," and lets him drive off once he gives him this citation. You know, what if that guy has some kind of sickness or fucking AIDS or STD or some shit like that, and he just spit on the cop? You know, what if that happens? And the cop just walks away doing his good job, doesn't arrest them, because people are like, oh, well, he spit on the cop, so the cop should have the tolerance and he should be trained enough to be under that type of situation. Well, yeah, but you shouldn't disrespect.
I see what you're saying, Mike, but that's kind of that's a little bit of a bullshit example.
Well,
just because, I mean, literally one person spitting on another in most jurisdictions, that's assault.
And
That's-
no,
but I've
hold on.
seen it where the cop still the comments.
I've seen the same videos.
Yeah.
I know.
And this is, I rarely go against Sean, rarely, but I get what you're saying.
You're about to come out pro cop spitting? Is that
the spitting part?
Mhm.
I completely understand that. Now, and I've again, I want to go on record. I'm glad this has been recorded. I've always said the same shit. If we're human beings, we're flesh, blood, and bone. You have emotions. I have emotions. Just because you wear a blue suit those emotions don't change. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I've always said. Me, I'm a civilian. If I provoke you by touching you, okay? By touching you, and spit counts too.
Yes, that's assault.
So, exactly. So if I spit at you, if I touch you, and you're the cop, and I'm the civilian, I've always said you deserve the ass whooping that's coming if you get your ass whooped.
Well, now you're taking it a little far in the other direction, man, as far as the
Here's the thing.
hyperbolic.
Here's what I'm going to say.
No, man, because this is my point. And maybe it is a drastic
You deserve
example.
handcuffs, but ass whooping's a little bit far, man.
But hold on. This is my point, and it's very important that we understand what I'm trying to lay out here. What I'm saying is, maybe my example was a little too deep, but what I'm saying is, basically, if you openly provoke the cop on purpose, you deserve what's coming to you. Because, again, we go back to you're a human being.
Right.
We're humans. We have emotions. I get it. What I'm against is when nothing that I just stated happens,
Right.
and then you get your ass kicked.
Okay, but here's the thing, because I wasn't even able to finish my last statement.
Okay, go for it.
So when the cop gets spit on, and let's say the cop is walks away and has a good day or whatever the hell, some cops don't have that tolerance.
That's not my fault.
It is not your fault, but that guy spitting on that cop, he still assaulted an officer. But that cop, if he doesn't have that type of tolerance, what's going to happen? He can be having a bad day.
That's not my problem.
It's not your problem.
You get paid to have a good day every day.
See, there you go, though. But that's the thing. Now you're saying, if the cop is having a bad day, walks up to your car, you spit on him, and he doesn't have the training. Let's say he doesn't have the tolerance that other cops don't have.
My problem.
Exactly. But he can easily pull that guy out of the vehicle for assaulting him.
Mm-hmm.
And then if he's having, like I said, he's having a bad day, he doesn't have the training, he doesn't have the tolerance, then he can easily start beating that guy down.
Yeah.
Like I said, there is bad cops out there, but with the training that they're getting, around 6 weeks to a month to be a police officer, some officers out there, they don't have enough training to just do their job.
So let me paint you a more scenario. We worked at a call center.
Right.
We're on the phone. You're talking to a motherfucker.
Right.
So many people cussed us the fuck out.
Oh, yeah.
Some people are impatient.
Right.
It's just an example. I'm not going to say you did it. I'm just an example. You snap.
Okay.
You're like, hey, motherfucker. And you tell them, hey, motherfucker, don't talk to me like that. I'm not talking to you like that. You have no right of cussing at me. I'm talking to you like a person. Why the fuck are you talking to me like that? You can do that. And Mike just snapped. Right?
Right.
But for you snapping, there's repercussions
Right.
for that. So what happens? That one customer made you lose your job. In the real world, you just got fired. Not unless you kiss your boss's asshole and stuff like that. You might be able to get away with it in the call center. This is my point. When you're a cop and you play out the same scenario, this dude pissed you off, you're a cop, you were having a bad day, you snapped. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, what should happen? You should lose your fucking job. Now, there's another point that I'm making with that. He lost his temper, whatever. That happened. He loses his job. But what happens, dude? These people, and again, you're more than welcome to correct me if I'm wrong. From what I've seen, these people are not only not losing their jobs, they're being rewarded and they're getting paid fucking vacation and shit like that.
Not all the time, but I've seen some examples.
But it does happen.
Yeah, I've seen some.
You know what I'm saying? I can give you plenty of
Just
examples.
jump in there real quick because I've had to have this conversation with people because I was definitely a very damn near rabid anti-authoritarian in my youth, and the whole they get paid vacation. That's literally that has to be in there because the false accusations are a thing that happens, and just
you just whoop somebody's ass.
Yeah.
How much?
Okay, did you whoop somebody's ass, or did somebody say you whooped somebody's ass?
No, wait. I'm talking about people.
The investigation has to be done first before you deny that person the payment that they're due.
Great point. Great point.
Now, once they're proven guilty, fuck them, get them out of the system.
No. Hold on. Great point. So what I'm saying is, and I know you've seen it too. I know you've seen it. What I'm saying is, and I'll even give you this. I will say with a few cops, with a few police officers that have done that have beat whoever it is, they beat them, whatever, and it's on camera, and you can clearly see that it's been done. Like, there's no way that you cannot see that officer's beating the shit out of that person or whatever. And going back to your point, and they still get a paid vacation. It's under investigation. We don't know if he actually did it. What other proof do you need?
I get you.
You understand what I'm saying?
I get you.
And my problem is
Freddie, let me ask you this real quick, man.
Go for it.
Let's just say hypothetically you've maybe been in a fist fight in your life, and
I have actually. I got my ass.
Motherfucker, I was giving you an out. Look, man, I've been in more than a few instances where if somebody started filming at the wrong time, I not only look like a bad guy, I look like a fucking monster.
Thank you. Okay, let me give you a real quick example, and I'm glad he just said that. All right,
fuck you, Sean.
This video,
fair and honest, motherfucker,
was surfacing also, where 3 police shoot down a teenager, unarmed, and that's what the media said. This video, it says police officers kill and shoot down this teenager who was unarmed. And they show this kid fleeing from the police, walking at a fast pace. The police show up behind him in the cop cars. They slam on their brakes. They jump off their car and just start shooting at him. They just shoot it from the back.
And this is what you're seeing.
That's what we're seeing on the video camera.
On the video.
On the dash cam.
Okay.
Yeah, we see this video on the dash cam.
Unedited? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, we see it. We see it how the media put it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you can just imagine how edited it is.
Okay.
So the cops get off the vehicle, but you just see him. You just see the cops get there, jump off the vehicle, point their guns, and shoot him. That's all you see. And in the video, what it's titled is "Police Officers Shoot Down Unarmed Teenager." And that kid died. But then they released the unedited video, and you see this kid. He was unarmed. He was. But you see this kid get his cell phone, hold it like a gun at night. It's nighttime. And he points it to one of the officers, and he starts pulling, like if he's pulling the trigger, and he starts moving the phone in an upward motion as if the kickback of the gun is going off. So when a police officer shows up and sees that, what is there? They're not going to, well, let's make sure it's really a gun first, and let me think about it.
I can see that.
He's shooting. When you're in a situation like that, you get something called tunnel vision. All right. I don't know if you've ever experienced this before, but you get something, but I doubt you've really experienced this before because I don't think you've been in a shootout with anybody. I hope not. But when
I've been shot at.
Keep your mouth shut, Freddy.
Okay. So when we're,
my bad.
When we're getting trained, they give us, guns with blanks and whatnot. They put us in scenarios where we're having to chase down people and look for suspects inside, buildings. What happens is you lose senses. Like you lose your senses and you go into tunnel vision. You just see, your hearing even goes. You can't even hear anything. And all you see is the guy in front of you with the gun, because that's what your body's focused on. And in that instance, you don't have time to, you know what? Let me think about it. Does he have a gun? No, he doesn't. Yes, he does. No, you know what? It's a cell phone. I don't have to shoot him. No, you have a family to get to. You have a wife to go home to. You want to live. So if this kid pulls out his phone at night and makes it seem like if he has a gun and he's shooting at you, I hope my backup and myself, I hope we all do what's right and we shoot back. And that's what people don't see. They don't see that footage.
And that scenario that you just painted out now, I agree with. But you know why I agree with it? Because of what you just said. Tunnel vision, you're in the moment. You as a police officer don't know if that's a gun. So therefore, you don't know and are not sure if your life is in danger.
Right.
So I know, I'm not a police officer, but I know enough to know that they've told you that even if you're not sure, if you have the slightest doubt that your life may be in danger, they tell you to react.
Right.
To for the sake of your life or whatever.
Okay, I've got a question. I mean, go ahead and finish the statement if you have something. The question is basically, what is what are the rules of engagement that you're dealing under? Like, where is the level of danger? Because I mean, for example,
there's a level of force that you can use. At our with our agency, there's a level of force you can use, but that doesn't really. They paint a perfect picture. Oh, well, if the suspect does this, then you can do only this, go this far, use your pepper spray. If the suspect does that, then you can only go into your baton after that, or your taser.
So let's jump ahead to like what we really want to hear.
Well, no, hold on. I want to kind of dig in on this a little bit. Like, cause again, we're talking about videos that are publicly available. You can go find the unedited footage, and there have been more than a few situations, say just in the past 10 years, where, an officer gets out at a scene. They're just there. They don't have any information except what's been reported.
Right.
And they see a gun and they automatically react with lethal force.
Yeah.
And my understanding from having talked with a lot of vets and being involved with conversations like that, it's like, say, for example, Afghanistan and Iraq, it's like they can point the gun at you all day long, but until they pull that trigger, you cannot engage them. So,
no. If someone points a gun at me,
okay, so it's
okay,
but the gun has to be pointed. The gun, it's not just
of course.
The gun
If he has a gun, I mean, you can tell him to put the gun down.
Right.
You aim your gun at him first. Yeah. I mean, I would do that. I would aim my gun at him first, because I mean, he can easily just go from having the gun down upward at you and start shooting at you.
See,
right.
And I was under a different perception from what I was told. I was told that as long as you, the police officer, felt that your life was in danger,
right,
you're free to open fire.
Yeah, but after that, they go into investigation and all that other stuff, and they see.
No, but we're talking about.
Yeah, I understand in the situation, right? Yeah. And I'll give you an example. At work, one of my coworkers, he was asking this teenager from Mexico for her papers, and she was giving him attitude because she didn't have them, but she's a Mexican citizen. She needs them to cross over.
Yeah.
She got upset. She was raising his voice. All of a sudden, she pulls out her knife from her purse and starts stabbing him. This happened at my job. The guy was in the hospital. Thank God he didn't, it wasn't too fatal. He was in the hospital for a while. He had to be off of work for a bit. The girl, of course, she lost her papers. We deported her. She's gone. But it just, from 1 minute to the next, anything can happen. And if that officer would have died, that's a kid growing up without a father. That's a wife growing up without her husband, and anything can happen in that situation. So when somebody has a gun and a cop arrives, they can easily tell him, put the gun down. But I've seen many instances where they tell him, put the gun down, and the guy doesn't want to put the gun down. He's trying to plead his case on why he has the gun in his hands. The cops don't want to hear that at the moment. The cops are fearing for their life and others. They're telling you to put the gun down.
Don't you think that he fears for his life too?
Yes, but the police have authority over you. If they're there and you have the police with all these guns pointing at you, and there was a phone call against you, and they tell you to put the gun down, please do the right thing and put the gun down. So the message
that you're sending out there, not you, I'm saying police officers in general, the message that you're sending me is your life is more valuable than
Never
mine.
Did I say that.
No, I didn't say you said that. I'm saying
that's not the message that what I'm sending though. What I'm saying is, when a police officer pulls you over, do what the police ask, and that's it. You might not record if you want. You want to record it, record it. Later on, you can take it to court. You can file a lawsuit. You can go to his PD. That's fine. But don't try to be a Facebook hero and try to look tough and try to fight the cop off and by ignoring his orders. If a cop shows up and tells you to put the gun down, do the right thing and put the gun down, because it's not going to end well. And just because you don't shoot at them doesn't mean your life's not in danger. He has a gun in his hand. Your life at that moment is in danger. If I were to have a gun right now looking at you, and I were to have a gun on my hand with my finger on the trigger, even though me and you are friends, your life is still in danger. You know what I mean? I could have been knowing you for 10 years, like you said. But if I have a gun on my hand right now and my finger's on the trigger, what would you get off of that? What would you be thinking? I'm here in front of you, a friend of 10 years, and my fingers on the trigger with the gun in my hand.
That I'm not safe.
Exactly. So imagine the police gets a phone call. They show up to some place. Guy has a gun in his hand with his finger on the trigger. They're telling you to put the gun down, and you're not putting it down. A guy that they don't even know. They don't know where he is psychologically, mentally. But what if they have to draw their guns out at you? And if you pick that gun up, me seeing you face to face, you have your gun in your hand, you pick that gun up instead of putting it down, I'm shooting. Why? Because I have a kid. Because I have a wife. I want to get home. It's either me or you. My tunnel vision reacts. You're the enemy. I got to drop you. Why? Because I don't know you. I got a phone call saying that you're dangerous. Just put the gun down. Listen to the police. That's all you got to do. All these other videos that I see, people getting hurt, getting beat up or whatever. You see these videos and, get down, sir. I'm not going to get down. And they keep standing up. Dude, just get down.
What about, I'm talking about the people that do though, man. Like, I get that.
I understand that. Like I said, there are bad cops, Freddy. I've told you that in the very beginning of this segment. There are bad cops. They are bad apples. They don't have training. They don't have the tolerance. There is bad cops. I'm not saying all of them are right. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is have some respect for some authority because not all cops are bad. You got to understand their situation. It's midnight. A state trooper pulls somebody over. They're walking up to a vehicle that they don't know what's in there. They don't know what's going to happen. And they walk up. They have to be 1 foot away from you. Not knowing if you have a knife, not knowing if you have a gun. You can easily just pull the gun out and shoot him and drive off. You know, it takes a lot to be law enforcement. It really does. It's not for everybody. Just like you, before this segment, you said, I told you everything that's happened at work and how it is and what it's like and what dangers I'm in. And you say, so then why are you doing this job? Exactly. I'm doing it because I want to protect this country. And some police actually want to protect this country also. You know, it's not for everybody. If anybody could do it, anybody can go in and get a badge. You know,
it seems like anybody can at this point.
Exactly. But if they have the nuts, if they have the bravery, if they're able to walk up to a vehicle in the middle of the night off of 281 going to Falfurrias or going to San Antonio in the middle of nowhere, knowing that backup is miles away, would you do that? Would anybody else do that? Would Facebook warriors behind Facebook, behind a keyboard, would they be able to risk their life, not seeing their son, their wife, their daughters, and go up to a vehicle in the middle of nowhere, not knowing what's in there, to ask for a driver's license? It's not for everybody. All I'm saying is have some respect for some authority. Have some respect for some police. Stop bashing the police. That's all I'm saying.
I think that's where the conversation gets really annoying, at least from my perspective, is when you see people who are, going like, oh my God, look at what these, fuck the police and all this. And then they want cops to be officer perfect. And it's like, you got to pick one.
Thank you.
Like,
Thank you. You're saying fuck the police, yet somebody steals something from your car. Who are you going to call? Come on. You can't be saying fuck the police. And then I have family members that say fuck the police on Facebook. And I say, wait, what do you mean by fuck the police? Like, not all police are bad. Well, I don't mean just fuck the police. I mean, fuck the police, period, like the bad ones. Okay, then don't say fuck the police because that shows a message to the rest of the media that you hate police. Say fuck this police officer or this police officer is wrong or say something like that. But stop using the slogan fuck the police because that means every police in general, including your cousin, your family members, and all that. Just because we're law enforcement doesn't mean you have to fuck us. You know, some of us are here to protect and serve. But like I said, there are some bad apples. You know, there's dangers to every job, but tell me something more dangerous than walking up to a vehicle in the middle of nowhere, asking for an ID because they were speeding, not knowing what's in there. Like, come on.
The bomb detonators.
Yeah, the suicide bombers. Yeah,
the ones that you're one wire away from.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you that. You're talking about middle of the night, you don't know what's going on. It always surprises me. I mean, in a good way, it surprises me how few incidents of violence you do hear reported from, border enforcement agents. Where you're talking about people again who have been through some fucked up situations. They are in desperate.
In the border?
Huh?
In the border?
Yeah, people that are coming across. You hear about some of these guys out in Arizona where they're basically wandering around in the bushes and they're just coming across people who didn't know they were there, and the reaction you might get from that, I would assume, is going to be much more chaotic than what you're going to get on the side of the road.
There's a lot that you don't hear about that happens in the border. There's a lot that you don't hear that happens in the port of entry. There's a lot of stuff you don't hear.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that's a good thing that we're not hearing about it, or maybe
it's a good thing because some of the stuff would scare some of the stuff would actually like, oh my gosh, like we have that here in the valley. Like there's a lot of stuff that you don't hear in the media, and we don't put it out there because it's very we can't put out, because if we put stories out there, well, officer this person found this person, and there has to be names and whatnot, and we have to keep everything under wraps. We can't it's, for example, a police officer catches somebody with drugs on the side of the road, and this officer caught this person with this drugs, and congratulate him, give him a medal and whatnot. We at our job we're taught we can't do that. We can't get credit. We can catch the biggest load in the world, but we're not going to get credit for the media. Why? Because we got to protect ourselves and our family. So there's just a lot of stuff you don't hear about. Okay. And in the border, there has been a lot of violence where just a border patrol agent is riding his boat, patrolling the river, and he gets sniped from Mexico.
I remember hearing about those stories when I was a kid. It was, people getting, again, just on the river for one reason or another, either enforcement or even just, regular, a civilian craft. And I really don't like that word civilian when it comes to anything but the military. But in a lot of ways, it's like somebody who is in no way should be assuming that they are in danger. But
they're just walking in the U.S. side. Mexicans over there just shoot at them and they kill them. And there goes another death in the law enforcement. And like I said, a lot of people hate Border Patrol. Oh, well, they just don't want Mexicans to come over. Well, yeah, because we don't know who's coming over. Because it's not just Mexicans come over. We found, there's been reports where they found people from Al-Qaeda coming over from Mexican side here in South Texas. If they didn't have Border Patrol, who knows what would have happened by now here in the valley. If there was no Border Patrol, no ports of entry, security, then who knows how many 9/11s there'd be.
Hold on, I need to check real quick. You can still talk about this, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like we're going into deeper water. I just want to make sure that.
Well, that's what my question was. As far as, do you think? I mean, I get what you're saying. As far as when the official statement is made from an agency, they have to include the officer's name and all that. Yeah. But I mean, on another note, I mean, I think the awareness of the general populace that some of these things are going on might change the tone of the conversation a little bit. So it's not quite just, look at the extremes of the law enforcement. It's like, no. It's extreme across the board.
Yes.
And these are not unjustified responses.
Yes. And this, like I said, it's just what you hear out there. Just because you don't, it's like I said, just because you don't hear about it doesn't mean it's not happening, Yeah.
No, and I always knew that, man, that there's a lot of good stuff that happens in this country that we don't know about, that people don't get credit for. I get it. And there's a lot of dirty shit up top.
Yeah, of course. It's not even up top. It's happening here in our backyard.
Yeah.
I mean,
but and that trickles down and affects us in a major way. And people say, what I hate to hear is say this is, and I'm not saying you say it. I'm just saying the narrative that's been put out there that I would love to change is the fact. I hate the people that say, well, it's not directly happening to me, so why should I care? Right. And I just think that it's a selfish thought that just because your brother, your mom, your dad are not the ones being killed or shot, or they're not the ones that are being deported, or they're not the ones being left without kids, that it shouldn't matter to you. I just think it's selfish. And I think that if we just took a little bit more time to actually think and just a little bit care for somebody else, I think that would just be like it would take us it would make a bigger step towards progress. It is all I'm saying, and it's all I've ever preached. Right. I've only ever preached equality and stuff like that. But the question that I wanted to ask you, and this is a huge question, I understand you may not have the right answer. I just want your factual answer. If it was in your power and in your hands, what is the narrative that you want to change about the whole situation? And if you could change it, and if you could get into somebody's head, if you could get into these people's heads like mine, and you had the ability to change it, what would you change?
Change what though? Change
the narrative about the whole thing, about police, the view on police overall,
Mhm.
the view at the border overall.
Well, you can
and-
easily do a lot of like outreaches. Police can actually do some outreaches, like go out, I don't know. So
What would you do though? I'm
Me?
saying, yeah. What would you do? Like I said, that's why I gave you that example.
yeah,
It-
just have like meet the teacher night. You know, it's as simple as that. It's as simple as that. Get to know your police officers. That's all. You live in FAR, or you live in McAllen, or you live in, have a little festival where the police officers are there and people go and, hi, my name is Officer this, and I live in the, okay, well, I protect that. I see that part at night, and if you ever need anything, here's just feel free to call. My name is Officer this. If people knew officers by name and knew them, but then again, there's a lot of people where you can't do that, because then you're going to know where they live, and then they get harassed, and then they get attacked by knowing where a police officer lives.
Well, let me ask you that, because this is a question that I've put to not only law enforcement officers, but to even military personnel. Because you get a lot of guys that come home from whatever service they're in, and they go, I don't wear the uniform, I don't advertise that this is what I'm doing, this is my job, this is what I go do.
Exactly.
But when it comes to community law enforcement, not necessarily the federal agencies as far as Border Patrol or even U.S. Marshals or something like that, but when it comes to community law enforcement, the idea of almost implied danger. It's like, yes, you are choosing to take on a job in which you may be asked to violently, I know that's not people don't want to hear that word, but violently detain an individual. You may be asked to point a gun at an individual. You're definitely being asked to take away the freedom of an individual, regardless of what the justification is, legally or in the moment.
Right.
And there almost should be that accountability. I mean, again, this sounds cold-blooded, but I don't really believe emotionally that politicians or law enforcement should ever feel completely safe within. I mean, if they fuck up, that fuck up will not only be known, but it will have a name tag to it. Now,
accountability.
Yeah. How
I've always,
where does that line need to be drawn, though?
I mean, that's a good question. I mean, with that, where you want the police to.
We want everyone to be held accountable, basically.
Yeah, but it's like I said. I mean, there's a lot of things in this country where it's not what you know, it's who you know.
We're held accountable.
Fair point.
We are held accountable. But you see, the thing is,
no, I'm saying we, as in me and Sean, as civilians.
I know that's what I'm saying. We civilians are held accountable,
Mm.
but it's like I said, it's not what you know, it's who you know. I mean, there's a lot of corruption, like you said, and there's a lot of times where, there's a police officer does something wrong. They give him a slap on the wrist, suspend with pay, and then in 2 months he's back on duty.
So what does that teach him?
Well, like I said, there's bad. It's not just good cops. There's bad cops, and there's bad politicians also. It doesn't just.
Oh, they're all fucking.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't stop with the police. It's politicians also.
No, I get it.
So I mean, it's gonna be there. It's gonna happen, and I wish it wouldn't. But it's gonna happen.
So apparently, this is what I'm getting at. This is my overall thing. Apparently, we are not gonna get rid of this issue. It's never gonna go away.
Right.
I've come to the grips of that reality. But this is what I refuse to come to grips with, because you have a family, I have a daughter. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I have to raise and teach my daughter in this world. So this is what I'm willing to cope with. What I'm not willing to cope with is not being able to find the balance of where can we learn to cope and live with the situation where, yes, crime's going to happen. There's going to be bad cops. There's going to be bad civilians. This is going to continue to happen, but where is that balance to where at least, and I don't even want to use that word because I don't think it's right, but to where at least it can be tamed and we can live in a livable society. You know what I'm saying? Because right now, to be honest with you, I don't feel that we live in a livable society. I'm afraid to go to festivals, dude. I really am. I'm not afraid to tell you that I'm afraid to go to like huge festivals.
Like as a shootouts or something?
Yeah. Because,
well, let me ask you this, Freddie. Do you think that there's been a change in the situation, or is it merely that introduction of, oh shit, that's something that could happen? Because I mean, that's always
it's always
again
happened.
Going back to the idea of kind of taking on that idea that you don't live in a perfectly safe world.
Yeah, as long as there's crime.
This is my point. But this is my point. And I get it. Crime has always existed.
Right.
This happened when I was a kid too. I get it. But there was a time where if something happened, I felt safe to pick up my phone, and you said it yourself. Who are you going to call? Right. I'm going to call the cops because I felt safe with calling the cops.
Right.
Because I felt that they were going to protect me. I'm telling you as a civilian, and I'm here in this part of this segment right here, I'm speaking for myself. I no longer feel safe doing that. I don't. Right. Because I can honestly tell you, not only from the shit that I've seen like on the news and shit like that, I can personally tell you that I personally experienced interactions with police officers where I wasn't comfortable, where I can tell you I felt harassed when I was pulled over. And I did nothing to deserve that. I can truthfully tell you that I did nothing to deserve that trigger. And I get it. It goes back. There's bad and I get it. So that's why I go to the bigger picture, and all I'm trying to figure out, and I've been trying to figure out for myself, and that's why I want to get your opinion, how can we get back to where at least the situation...
Was that the only time you got pulled over? Was that the only time you got pulled over?
No, I've been pulled over many times.
And was that the only experience that you had?
No, that's the problem.
Don't bring statistics into this,
no,
Mike.
I'm not. I'm just wondering.
I get you.
Hold on, because I know where he's going. I know where you're going with it, and that exactly is the problem. Had this only happened one time, cool. Had it happened 2 times, that you can question that. But you know what? 2 times I can let it go. But 3 and 4 times, dude.
Wait, so you got pulled over 3 or 4 times and got harassed 3 or 4 times?
Yes. And I can tell you how I got harassed.
And you didn't do anything, Freddy. Those 4 times you got harassed.
Hold on.
Was it the same cop every time?
No. No, hold on. Let's back up a little bit. Do anything as in what?
As in, I don't know, maybe yell at him.
Or, okay. I see what I
cuss him out.
No. And I'll tell you exactly what happened and how it went down. Well, the one of the times that I remember, knocked on the window, license.
He knocked on your window?
Yeah, because I had my windows up. And you
should roll him down as soon as he pulls you over, bro. Rule number 1. All of them. Next time. I'm helping you out. Next time. Next time you get pulled over, I'll help you out. Roll down all your windows.
Right there with you, Mike.
Yes.
Don't light on. Hands on the steering wheel. All the windows
hands
down.
on your steering wheel. Roll down all your windows.
So knocked on the whatever. Oh, I do need to throw this out there. It was 9:00 in the morning. Okay. 9:00 in the morning. I'm on my way to work.
Okay.
Okay. This is why it pissed me off. So roll down window, whatever. He said, "Good morning, sir," and I gave him my insurance. I gave him my license. Gave it to him. Sees me, whatever. Looks in the car. Looks in the back. All of that is cool. Perfect. You're doing what you're supposed to do. He looks at my thing, whatever. Then he was looking at my insurance. He's like, "I'm gonna run this through." No problem. Before he left. No, I'm lying. He left. Goes, checks the thing, whatever, comes back, and then he told me I pulled you over because you were speeding a little bit. He said you're getting somewhere, and then he was like, I told him I'm on my way to work, and then he was like, okay, Where do you work? I told him, so on and so forth. So this is where I really got hurt. He said, have you had anything to drink today? And I said, I had water and orange juice. And I did say it. I'm not going to say I didn't. I did say it. I said, I had water and orange juice. I looked at him and I said, it is 9 o'clock in the morning, man. That's all I said. And then he said, can you step out of the vehicle? So I did. Okay. So step out of the vehicle. And then he said, can you go around the car? Right? So I went around the car. And then he said, would you be willing to take a sobriety test? And that's where I lost it. Because I'll pause the story right there.
But he's not harassing you, though.
There is no need for that.
I'll tell you this.
Okay, go ahead.
If I were to pull you over, the person's speech and the tone of their voice, that makes them ask if you've been drinking or not. And I'm going to be honest with you. Sometimes when you speak to me, you speak kind of slow. You slur a bit. And if I ask, have you been drinking? And you still speak to me in the same tone, whatever. I mean, I might ask, like, are you able to take a sobriety test? Like I would do the same thing. I'll be honest with you, Freddy. Sometimes when you speak a little bit slowly to where some people, they have to be intoxicated to speak like that. I'm not saying he did it right. I'm not saying he did it wrong. But
you kind of are saying that he did it right.
No, I'm saying, I'm justifying, like if he just asked you in a normal tone, are you willing to take it? Now, he asked you in a normal tone, and what was your response? That's when you lost it. So when you lost it, what did you do?
When I lost it, I said, this is the first time that I was ever been pulled over. So I said yes. And then he said, so I was standing behind the vehicle or whatever. And then he said, can you come forward? I came forward. And then he said, can you walk a straight line? And then I said, no, I can't. And then he said, so have you been drinking? No, I just can't walk a straight line. Now,
if he can't tell you're handicapped at that point, then that's something
I was
else.
going to ask this because I've heard you tell this story several times. Yeah. At any point, did the phrase cerebral palsy come into this conversation?
Thank you.
Yes.
What did you tell him?
Hold on. And that's why I was pissed off. Because that question came after he asked me to stand on one foot, after he asked me to walk a straight line.
When he asked, you didn't tell him? You could have easily told him.
No, he didn't ask.
You should have just told him.
He didn't. I'm trying to make a point here, though.
Okay.
He didn't ask.
That's a good statement right there. Yeah. I was trying to make a point.
He didn't
officer.
Ask. Which, if like you said it, I didn't. If you're a well-trained officer, it's your fucking job to ask, not my fucking job to tell you.
Fred, but
especially if you've already pissed me off, dude. Because there's no. Let's go back to what you said at the beginning. I get it. My speech or whatever.
Okay.
I get it. But once we're outside and I'm standing in front of you and you've already asked me if I could fucking stand on one foot, if I could walk a straight line, if all this shit, by now, like I said, if you're an officer and if it's not your first merry-go-round, you should have already asked, is there any type, I would have accepted even, is there any other type of impairment?
Okay, so let me ask you this. If, let's say, I was pulled over by him, and he tells me if I've been drinking, and I said no, and he gets me off and says, can I walk a straight line? Have you been drinking? Or can I take a sobriety test? Mm-hmm. Has he harassed me?
I would take it as harassment. Because there's no need for that.
He's doing his job.
No, because what's the probable cause?
What if I was slurring? What if my speech was slurring?
Did he tell you that?
No, but what if? Like, I'm just asking you.
What did he tell you?
No, but I'm saying, what if he tells me that? Like, if he tells me, have you been drinking today? No. Okay, well, can you step out and are you willing to take a sobriety test? I can refuse.
That's asking to be shot.
No, it's not, Freddy. You're exaggerating right there, bro.
No, man.
You're exaggerating right there, bro.
Well,
okay, that's a thing though. You saying that I can be shot. That sounds more like Tupac talking right there, man. That shirt you're wearing. I get that you say, "Oh, I can't talk back to a police because I'm gonna get shot." You can just be smart individual, a smart civilian, and tell him, "Bro, I'm handicapped," and that could have been avoided long ago. You don't gotta make a point. You don't gotta try to be. Hold on. You don't gotta try.
When I said I was trying to make a point, I meant I was trying to make a point with you.
No, I get that. But what I'm saying is, you don't gotta try to be a statistic where I want to show that police officers do harass. Because honestly, bro, if that were to happen to me, that's not harassment. He asked, "Are you willing to take a test?" He asked me. He didn't yell at me. He didn't drag me out of the car. He didn't force me to take the test. He asked me.
But we don't know what would have happened if I would have refused.
You don't know.
And to be fair, Freddie, neither one of us were in that situation, and I'm not discounting your scenario completely, man, because I've been in those situations where officers have used formalities to. I mean, it's clear and present, but if I describe the situation to you, you go, "Oh well, no, that's something an officer would say." Yeah, but you weren't looking into the motherfucker's eyes when he said it. But I do think you're dealing a little bit not playing fair isn't the phrase I'm looking for. You're not dealing in good faith in that scenario. Because I mean, that's kind of like, well, you don't know me. Well, yeah, he doesn't know you. You have to give him the information. I mean, I've been in situations where as soon as the officer came up to the window, I was giving him all kinds of scenarios. It's like, why'd you get out of the car? Because I got a dog in the back and she ain't going to be happy. And I don't want her barking at you. I don't want you having to deal with that. So, And it's like, okay. Yeah. You paint a picture for him. I mean, and in most cases, sometimes you're going to be bullshitting.
So you're saying,
like, I was coming from my cousin's house and no, we had punch. Maybe there was something in the punch. I don't know.
So what you're saying is when I get pulled over and they come, at least after we get through the license and insurance part, I should automatically identify as handicapped.
You don't have to, if they don't say that you're drunk. I mean, you don't have to.
It's
but if they're assuming, if they're asking you for a test, tell them I'm handicapped. Because like I said, it doesn't take much to be a police officer. Anybody, like you said, anybody can be a police officer. I've seen some police officers that like, damn, how the hell did you pass that test? I've seen some officers with that. But sometimes you got to make the jobs easier for them. Yo, bro, I'm not drunk. I'm handicapped. Look at the damn thing hanging from my mirror. I got cerebral palsy, whatever. Just help them out. Don't try to make it more difficult for them. Help them out. I've been pulled over in the last year. I've been pulled over maybe 3 times. Once by a black dude, once by a white dude, one by a Mexican. I've gotten warnings all 3 times. One of them was a state trooper, one of them was a PD, and the other one was a sheriff. What do I do when they pull me over? I pull over, roll down all my windows, keep my hands on the steering wheel. I don't even mention anything about being law enforcement. I don't even show them. Why? Because it's frowned upon in my agency. We cannot badge anybody or any other agency. But you're not supposed to badge anybody. They even make us take off the thin blue line sticker off our car. We can't even have that on our vehicle. Because they don't.
What's that?
The thin blue line is the police symbol. I'm surprised you don't know that.
Where
the thin blue line? You don't know what the thin blue line means?
Where is it? What do you mean?
Elucidate for us, please.
Okay, the thin blue line is the symbol for the police and law enforcement. It's the flag, the United States flag with the blue line in it, showing that you support police officers.
But where is it?
What do you mean, where is it?
Because you said I have to take it off.
In the vehicle, everybody puts it on their vehicle. It's like a bumper sticker or a decal.
Oh, it's a bumper sticker.
Yeah,
I thought you fucking meant every vehicle had it. I was like, I don't
You're
fucking
talking like one of those stickers you get, like, I donated to the sheriff.
Exactly.
I got you.
You support the blue.
Yeah, I got you.
Back up the blue.
Yeah,
so at our agency, they make us take it off. So when I get pulled over, I roll down all my windows, keep my hand on my steering wheel. They ask me all these questions. I answer for them. I smile at them. I don't get upset. Why? Because they're just doing their job. They're just doing their job. If somebody calls into your job.
But by the way, Mike, he made me late to work.
Hey, I'm late too, but you invited me. Shit, fuck. Anyway, and they pull us
No,
over.
I meant he made me late to work. I'm telling you.
Well,
Oh, he made
hold
you
on.
late. Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's what I'm telling you.
I think we've covered this, man. You could have played that better. The cop could have been a little more observant.
Yeah.
Mike, we're coming up on about an hour and a half right now. Do you need to get going here in a bit, right?
I mean, I can do like 10 more minutes, or if you guys are ready to go, we can take off.
I wanted to toss this at you, man. Do you think what questions, when it comes to, let's kind of go back to the original topic of what's happening as far as enforcement on the border, what questions should people be asking if they are curious and want to get a broader and a more rounded view and I don't know, to hear a more balanced narrative? Like what questions should they be asking? What should they be interested in when it comes to these scenarios, when it comes to these policies, to the law itself?
Like in form of but in what form? Like the camps or the separating family? What are you talking about?
Okay, let's say the separation of families. Like what?
Ask yourself a question. Ask this question. Next time you think you're separating families is wrong, just like I said, ask yourself, would you put a family of strangers in the same household? Would you put everybody in the same household?
Okay.
Not knowing their background, not knowing their history. Would you put them all together? No. Okay. Would you be willing to put just the families by themselves in housing? Well, you can do that, but what if they're not going to get granted into the U.S. and they can easily hurt their children? Because again, you don't know their background, and you're keeping them there with their family. So if you tell them what they're dying to do is come into the U.S., they're risking their life. They just traveled countries to come into the U.S. They're risking their life and their kids' lives. And if you tell them they're not granted into the U.S., don't you think they're desperate enough to do something to their kids?
Yeah.
Think about that. And if you guys have any other questions, travelers have questions, you can easily walk to any port of entry, go to the front desk, and ask them.
Are they accessible?
Yes.
Like anybody can walk up?
Yes. Just like you can cross the border, you look to the right, you look to the left, there's officers there. There's an office there with officers in there, and you can just ask them questions. You can even ask the guy who's letting you come into the country. Sir, so what are they, blah, 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 blah. Ask them these questions. They answer you. Can I bring my gun across the... No, you cannot. It's just simple as that.
Yeah.
Oh, sir, can I bring this meat over? No, you can't. Well, why not? I think it's stupid you guys are taking away our meat. Yeah, but you don't know what diseases you're bringing over from Mexico. And we're trying to protect the U.S.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Okay.
A lot of people think that we're just trying to make people's lives miserable by taking their things away. But no, it's for a reason.
Okay, on that point, is there, do you know off the top of your head someplace that somebody could go, a website or something like that, where the codes are, say, available?
I do know the website. I don't have it on the top of my head, but I do know the website. I wish I had it, though. I wish I would have brought
Leave
that with
it
me.
to Mike to come unprepared.
I'll tell you what, if you could send Freddy that later, we'll
I
include the
will
link
definitely
with that.
send Freddy that link, so I can give that to you. But there is a website where it has all the information, and what you're able and what you cannot do.
Well, I'd like to thank you, man, for willing to come in. I reached out to a couple of other people. I reached out to a U.S. Customs agent, and he refused to. He was like, "Nah, man, because that shit's public, and I just rather not." I reached out to a couple before I reached out to you, and they refused. Thank you for
So I was the last resort. Okay.
Not really, but
Wait till he's off the mic before
I
you
know.
tell him that shit.
no, but thank you for that, man, because I do think having this conversation was very important, just so that you know, and I want to say this publicly and openly, you have impacted a change, at least in me, to some extent, as far as the narrative. There's still things that I disagree with you on, but that's okay. But I just wanted a clear perspective on that. My main point and concern was the family separation and the kids. Because at the end of the day, man, the only thing I care about is the kids. Because I come from a fucked up background in a way. and I know what that type of shit does to a kid.
Okay.
Grown people, they make mistakes, they break laws. That's I don't really care about that, as cold as that may sound, but it's just the kids, and I wanted to have that clear narrative out there. So I do thank you for that. I do thank you for. I see things from a different light. As far as the police situation, the police brutality, I disagree with you on some points, but on those points, man, I already given up. I think we'll never agree on that. But on some of the points that you did make, you also did shed light on a lot of things that I now see differently. As far as the disability scenario that I painted, I don't agree on a lot of that. But I mean, I do get where you're coming from. But as far as the authority, what you should do, what you can't do, shouldn't do, I get that, and there were some points that I didn't understand before today, so I do thank you for that as well, and I knew that you would give it to me straight, so that's why I brought you in here.
Well, I appreciate that, and here's the thing: what I want to say is, if you really care about the children more than anything, only thing I'm not trying to tell you how to raise your daughter, but don't let her be raised with the mentality of fuck the police. Let her respect law authority, as she gets older, and don't tell her to fear the police. That's one thing I'm asking you to do. Don't raise her by thinking the police are bad or the police are dangerous.
Yeah.
Because if something ever happens to her, God forbid, in the side of the street, and she's in a scenario where she needs the police,
yeah,
and all
she's
you do
not
is
gonna call.
Exactly,
yeah.
and then she's gonna be in
danger
and in danger. Yes,
I got
one
I agree with that.
One bit of a follow up to again, as far as questions that people should be asking to get a more clear understanding of the scenario. For people that are genuinely concerned about, say, malfeasance or abuse by law enforcement officials, what should they be paying attention to? Is there anything specific that you have come across that you go, this might be something that we need to be having the conversation about?
A lot of stuff is about the recordings where
the videos on social media.
Yeah. Don't just jump to conclusions when you watch something on social media. There's a lot more than just the edited part. Like, I just say it real quick because I know we're wrapping this up. But for example, there was this one time last year where there's this guy in a hotel, and the police went up to him and they started making him crawl down the hallway.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they just shot at him. If you look at that video clearly and slowly, where they told him, if you reach up again, we will fire, and then it just jumps to, you can see the video skip, and it shows them shooting at him.
Mm-hmm.
He reached inside his pocket when he's crawling towards the police. You just didn't see the unedited version.
Now, to be clear, I have seen the full video on that, and it is not very clear from those body cams whether he was trying to reach for his pants, because that was one of those scenarios where it's like they're giving him conflicting orders, and it's questionable on both sides.
Yeah,
he could have handled it better, and so could have the officers.
He had a gun on him.
Mm-hmm.
They told him to put it down. He put it down.
Mm-hmm.
And they tell him, if you reach up again, we will fire. They told him that specifically.
They did.
And what did he do? He reached up to his waist. They told him that. They're literally telling you what not to do because they will shoot. They're literally telling you what's going to happen.
Now, again, they were giving him conflicting orders as far as how they wanted him to...
but the last thing they told him when he was crawling was, if you reach up again, we will shoot. That's the last...
That's, again, the only justification I would say for somebody being questionable with that video is that, I mean, yes, of course, they edit it, and you can't see him reaching in some of those clips. But also before that, there was a lot of...
And here's my question. If there was nothing wrong with it, then why did they edit that?
No, that's definitely to paint a narrative.
Exactly. Why did they have to edit it to that part to where...
But you also have them clipping out the part where they're going, get on your knees, put your hands here, and it's like,
and then don't move, and they're telling him don't move. Yeah, they're confusing him. I get that, but so yeah, I'm just asking, like, just don't jump to conclusions and think all police officers are bad by the edited videos that the media is portraying.
If I can paraphrase you a little bit, basically, if you come across a scenario that seems questionable, start asking the questions. Look for the most unedited, unbiased source you can.
So basically what you're saying is, in very short, do your research before you
Pretty much.
judge.
Pretty much. Because you can see all this edited stuff. And when you get pulled over by the police, just do what they say. That's all you got to do. Even if you think it's unlawful, later on, you can go and file a complaint. You can go and put it on social media. A lot of people have phones now. They record everything. They record the audio. They record video. You can put it out there.
This is my only thing, man. And I think this is what we don't agree on. I just feel, man, that if I have to follow the law as a civilian, you have to follow the law as a police officer.
No, we do.
No, you don't.
The police officer. No. I'm not saying we. That's what we do. I'm saying we do have to.
Yeah.
You know, some police officers don't.
Yeah.
But if you have it on video, later on, just do what he's telling you to do. Later on, go and file a complaint.
So I do wanna end this on a sweeter note, because
Good luck.
Because Mike's trying to kill me from across the couch shit. So in 5 minutes, Mike, that's all I'm gonna give you. No, I think 5 minutes is too much. 4 minutes time. I'm giving you 4 minutes time.
4 minutes.
After I finish the question, and the question is short. What the fuck is gonna happen in Dallas this year, man?
I need a fucking hour.
Oh, jeez. Did you watch that Arizona game, man?
Yeah, I did actually.
It hurt.
Look, man, I told you years ago.
No,
I
don't need years ago. I need this year.
Nah, man. I honestly, with our secondary, I think if fucking Dak, or even if fucking Dak can throw at least 20 yards.
He does throw 20 yards.
To the fucking stands. Yeah, okay. If he can throw, I mean, if Dak goes down, our offensive line or anybody from our first string goes down, we're fucked.
Yeah,
because
I agree.
And then the fucking coach today saying, "Oh, I think Cooper Rush would be a good backup."
No.
The fuck have you been watching?
Exactly.
I mean, Stevie Wonder would be like, "Fuck no, dude! Like he is not a good backup. Like you crazy as hell." But
that dude, we're better off with Moore.
Yeah,
Moore was a better fucking backup than. But anyway, I agree with you on that part.
Yeah.
I think our secondary still needs work.
Our defense is very much improved, though.
Yeah,
Our starting defense.
Yeah.
Our secondary is like fuck.
I still have a problem with the corners, man. I don't think the corners are.
Uzier is a beast, man.
I need to see it.
Well, I've seen
if
it.
if it's because everybody looks good on paper, dude. But
no, I'm not saying the paper. It's the videos in preseason, he's been doing good. Uzier has been he's been coming out as a rookie. I mean, he's
so like I said, 4 minutes. Where is the 2 questions? Where is the improvement as we go to get us to the playoffs, if at all possible?
Our improvement, like what we need?
Yeah.
Now.
Because I'm saying now, because I do understand it's kind of late. Because Jerry fucked up in the offseason, in my personal point of view. Fucked up real bad.
Well, it's kind of hard to say what we need now, because, I mean, it's a bunch of new players that we got.
But so free agency?
Free agent, we should fucking get. If we need somebody right now, we should have gotten fucking Earl Thomas a long time ago. That guy wants to go to Dallas. He's a fucking leader. He wants to He's the secondary, like you're saying that we're struggling.
Yeah.
He would be in our secondary.
Yeah.
You know, it's just I don't know what the hell they're not. I don't know why they're not going for him. He wants to go there. So I think if they were to get Earl Thomas in the secondary to pump those guys up, that'd be one. He's on defense. Another thing is fucking Dak needs to throw the damn ball.
Yeah.
He needs to throw the damn ball and accurate, not throw it to the fucking mascot or anything like that.
Yeah.
He needs to throw it accurate, because that guy cannot throw for shit. If it's 3rd and 10, that guy throws a fucking 2-yard pass to the outside. Like he can't get a fucking first down unless he gives it to Zeke. That's what.
And I get it, man. But all I'm saying, dude, and I know you're not gonna like what I'm gonna say, is y'all need to give that kid the same patience and opportunities that y'all gave Romo for years for all his fuck ups.
Right.
give him the same opportunity.
Yeah, Romo went 13-3 with his arm the first year he played.
Right.
He went 13-3 also.
And how many playoffs?
Yeah, he didn't have a defense, bro. Look at the
fuck out of
hey, look at the games. Look at the games. Every game that we won, we had to score at least 30 points or more. We had to score 30 points or more. Every game. Look at 2014. Pull up your fucking phone right now, Freddy.
2014. You know what I call for 2014? Was it 2014?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was 2014 with DeMarco Murray and Des Bryant.
Yeah. That was his fluke year. What else?
His first year, 13-3. What was that?
His first year?
His first year, 2007.
Exactly.
What
did you say? His first year.
His first year.
How many years was he in the league?
It doesn't. Freddie, look at our defense. He never had a damn offensive line until 2013, where he told fucking Jerry, "Yo, draft fucking Tyron Smith." And the year after that, draft Zach Martin. The year after that, Travis Frederick. 3 years in a row, they drafted first round.
This is how I'm gonna kill that whole argument
Dak, because of Romo.
Dak
has that protection.
Watch how I'm gonna kill this whole argument.
Go ahead.
Right here. Check this out. Who the fuck did and who the fuck... Well, no, I can't say does anymore because this year and the year before he actually does have somebody. But who the fuck did Tom Brady have? Don't worry, I'll wait.
Tom Brady, what the fuck he has?
Who does he have? Who did he have? On his offensive line, who do you have as a
Tom
running
Brady
back?
had an offensive line, bro. What are you talking about, bro?
No, he did.
Tom Brady had an offensive line.
Name one.
And his
Name
fucking
one.
team, and they
Name
fucking
one.
cheat to win. What the fuck are you talking about? And they cheat to fucking win.
I agree.
What are you talking about there, dude?
Agree,
Like,
but
get the fuck out of here, Freddie.
But,
Yo, but honestly, Dak, his team, his fucking protection that he has now is because of fucking Romo. Romo literally went into the fucking booth when they were drafting, and he said, "Get some fucking offensive line."
I will say that on that game with Arizona, the one thing I was very impressed about was the way they maintained the pocket.
I'm telling you, man. Romo, when he told them in 2013, 2012, Zach Martin, Tyron Smith, Travis Frederick, it's all because Romo wanted the protection. Look at other videos. Hold up. Look at all the videos in between. Between 2008, between 2012, every fucking play Romo's running for his fucking life. Every play. Let Dak run for his life because Dak can't throw for shit even with protection. Watch Dak run for his life, try to make a throw, fucking throws it to the stands. Look at that shit.
All I'm saying is give the kid a chance.
Okay, and what do you give him? 2015, 14, 15, 16, 17, all right, 18. We're his fourth year. Because he took over for Romo in 2015.
Third year.
Well,
it's not a 4 year.
15, 16, 17, and then this year's going to be his fourth.
Okay.
So let's see.
But just for the record, and that's fine. But for the record, y'all still gave Romo way more time than that. He was a seasoned veteran. Dude didn't do shit. Couldn't do shit. But
honestly, I think it's because of Romo that Cowboys were even fucking relevant these past years, man. If the Cowboys didn't have Romo, look at what happened when he went down. With Whedon. With Hasselbeck. With all those other fucking quarterbacks that we had. Exactly. Not a single fucking win without Romo when the backup quarterback was playing.
And the awkward side.
Now that's a mic drop right there.
No. I'm just because I have a shitload of other things to say, but...
You said 4 minutes, fucker.
Yeah, exactly. We'll be here for another 2 hours.
Yeah.
But
start off with this.
But no, I still have hopes, man. And and what I was gonna end it with, since we got that bullshit out the way, I have my prediction. What's your prediction?
This.
I get my prediction.
I would say 10-6. As long as the line can stay healthy, Zeke stays healthy to fucking bail out Dak's bullshit arm, then I say
he's gonna be fine.
I say we go. I say we go 10-6.
If
Zeke can stay healthy and nobody fucking smokes weed and gets suspended,
we're seeing the same thing because I have 9-7.
You got 9-7.
I got 9-7.
That's not bad.
No.
I think they're better than that.
And I don't think.
Who are you most afraid of in the division?
You're gonna disagree. I get it, but try to look at it from my point of view. The Eagles.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. because these dudes went out and they stacked. They stacked where they needed to be stacked. And the second thing is, Wentz is none to fuck with, bro. I'm sorry.
No, he's a beast.
I'm sorry, but he's not. No.
Yeah. If I was on defense, I'd go for his leg again. Shit. That's all I gotta say. But yeah, no, he's a beast.
Yeah.
The Eagles.
Yeah, the Eagles. And that's the only reason. Let me paint you this scenario. Had they not gone out and gotten stacked,
right,
they're not gonna win again. Now, I'm gonna also say this: are the Eagles gonna win the Super Bowl again? No, not. It's not gonna happen. So Philadelphia, get that out of your head now. It's not gonna happen again. Do they have a chance? Will they make the playoffs? Maybe. Yeah. All right. Will they win? No.
I think the Giants are coming up though.
Yeah.
I think the Giants are quietly.
We're seeing the game from the same. We're using the same goggles.
Yeah. I'm not throwing the Giants out.
Yeah, because and they just signed a 5-year extension on Odell. So.
Yeah.
All right, man. 10-6, 9-7.
Yeah.
We'll meet up again. Hopefully, we can watch a game together.
Yeah.
We haven't
that sounds good.
in
a while. Tomorrow? No, wait. Thursday's
no.
The next
I want to watch the real
game.
Shit.
Yeah, because preseason's bullshit. But yeah, man, sounds good.
So yeah, definitely. Now we're gonna skip the.
Yeah, usually at the end of this, we ask our guests to give out social media
but
contacts.
you definitely. You definitely.
I like my life, bro. I like my life.
So thank you for coming, man. Thank you for coming. I'll tell you that afterwards. But yeah, you wanna.
All right, folks, if you want to get in touch with me, you can find me at hatfieldstandup@gmail.com, as well as hatfieldstandup on Twitter and Facebook.
And you can find me, Freddy G, across the board at Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And we also just started a Facebook page for the podcast officially. It's called the Bouncing Brains Podcast.
So it's facebook.com/Bouncing Brains Podcast.
Yes. Please go out there, like, share, and you can't subscribe. Share.
We did set up a group, so you can go in there and talk shit if you want to.
Yeah, exactly. Nice. So make sure that you like and share that. Spread the word and keep emailing us because y'all stopped and we need more feedback to keep bringing more people.
We're going to keep talking whether you fuck with us or not, but, hey, it's always more fun when people are paying attention.
Yeah. Yeah, and share in Mike's place because he's not going to be able to do that. So share this podcast, and we hope that you found it. This has been our most insightful podcast. Everything before this it's good, but it's shooting the shit type of good. But
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah. So
you can find us Bouncing Brains on YouTube, and you can find the audio version of this podcast, which this is going to be a straight audio podcast, again for obvious reasons, at shoutengine.com/Bouncing Brains.
And until next time, keep it tight.
Thanks for coming in, Mike.
Yes, sir.